It's football. Well, hello and welcome to Boomer Live. We couldn't cover the cricket side of it, but we are covering the Champions League a long time back to the football side of things. We'll be having Austin join us in a short while. While with me, I have Abel in a new jersey. It is the Manchester City jersey. It's the Manchester City who's going away though at the Santiago Bernabeu. It's the Real Madrid that they're going to be facing a team that owns the Champions League. They've owned it 14 times. They're looking for the 15th one, and in their way stands Pep Guardiola, who's hoping to finally win it with a third team, with the rest of them being Bayern and Barcelona. I have with me Abel. Abel, how nervous are you? Just moments away from kickoff, you're going to be doing a watch along all throughout. But when you're facing Real Madrid and the Champions
Yeah.
League anthem plays, you know it's going to be not at all an easy game or an easy two games, considering this is the first leg.
Yeah, I agree with you, Julian, because it's never an easy game at all to face Madrid, number one, wherever you play. And secondly, it's in Champions League. And look at this. It's well set up for a knockout fixture. And look, you have to admit that this has to be make or break for City as well. This is the season for them to really grasp it. Now, as we see, the teams are almost there. And I personally think that this has to be a moment where City really capitalizes it. The game is already started. The first ball is already on Rodrigo. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited for this game more than being nervous, I would say so, because I really wanted this game to happen after what happened last year in the second leg. So this is something which I really anticipated.
Absolutely. I have Austin with me here finally. Glad to have you on the show, Austin. Been a while. But we are at the
Hi,
Champions League
thanks for having me.
semi-final.
Yes, we are.
And how do you reckon are the chances for Real Madrid? They've had a little bit of a choppy season so far. La Liga is almost out of hand. They did win
Yeah,
the Spanish Super Cup or the Copa del Rey. Now that
they
they're
did.
here,
They
they
recently.
are a cup.
Yeah,
They are a cup team, aren't they? And they know how to win the Champions League. They've done it 14 times. You reckon there's a 15th one or at least a final with one of the Milan teams this time around?
I think. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, they're a cup team, and they know winning. They recently tasted a very huge victory. They won the cup, the Spanish Cup. Now, I think today's game. I'm happy the first leg is in Real Madrid's home. Certainly increases Man City's chances for the second leg. Really excited to
Yeah.
see, but of course, there's a lot of pressure on Man City today because of that reason. Very exciting game. Well, let's see what happens. I think
Well,
I'm.
even as the match has just progressed, the players are just settling in, and the tempo is just about to be decided. It just seemed to be a lot more physical initially. Already a couple of fouls in just 2 minutes, but
Yeah,
players are going to be in each other's faces, right? Because these are the two teams which could be. I mean, Man City has been on a run, and they've just been incredible this season. Erling Haaland is one of the main players in this team. You could possibly say Erling Haaland could be the difference between the previous I wouldn't call them failures as much as unsuccessful attempts to win the Champions League because in Erling Haaland you've got a machine who's just been producing goals. He's broken the Premier League
yeah,
record of the most goals scored in a season as well now, Abel.
Yeah.
How important is going to be this player, especially considering how Pep has completely changed the formation? Now you're realizing that, I mean, two things have happened in this Man City team, isn't it? One, Erling Haaland has gotten used to Pep being his manager, and Pep has gotten used to Erling Haaland being a source for goals now.
Hmm. I mean, I agree with you on that because number one, you have to also look into different scenarios. Primarily, Haaland, the kind of impact he brings into any team he walks in is just it's just seen, right? I mean, he just goes out there and makes an instant impact. And the season has been all about that. If you look at last season as well, how Manchester City went down in that second leg, I thought it was personally regarding Manchester City unable to capitalize few chances which they got in the first leg. That could have easily been a 6-3 game over a 4-3 game in the first leg last season. So these are chances which are Manchester City wanted to really improve upon and come out fighting, and this is the best opportunity for Manchester City. I mean, you have Haaland, who's like the most premier striker who's in form. He's doing a phenomenal job, and at the same time, it can be slightly more cagey, especially this first leg, because firstly you're playing away from home, and what you need to also realize is Manchester City have really evolved as a team. I personally feel this season they've not really demanded the ball a lot more. because something which is unlike Manchester City in the recent past, they become more mature, especially in terms of managing games, and that's where I think Manchester is slightly holds advantage. But so far, what I see in the game is they're letting City be a little more comfortable to where they are, and I think that's where things are going to be pretty interesting as to how we progress further. And who takes that first shot? I mean, especially when it comes to Manchester City, if they can get one goal in, then the pressure is going to be in Madrid because they are playing in Bernabeu. They have to capitalize on this game. I know for Madrid, home or away doesn't really matter because they've done well both home and away in Champions League. But even there, their biggest suit is Bernabeu in the recent past. They try to kill the games off, or even if it's to make comebacks. Bernabeu really holds that extra bit of added advantage, and that's why I personally feel this is going to be an important tie for both the teams, for that matter.
I mean, fair enough. It is going to be an interesting one because the first match, I mean, obviously, I think both the teams will don't want to take the goal, not want to concede a goal right away, settle in, and that's how it looks like it. But from the start, right now, Austin in the game, with just 5 minutes in, and it just seems like Vinicius Junior is once again the source of attack on the other end. You
Yeah,
just saw him almost run in and get across into Karim Benzema. That's how they are going to be looking to attack. That's for sure. How do you reckon Man City are going to look to counter the Vinicius Junior problem? Because he can be an issue when he gets into those fluid runs and really be a problem. Because
yeah,
they've got Kyle Walker against him, someone who's again a merchant of pace, if that's the way to describe him. So it's going to be
correct.
an interesting tussle on that side, isn't it?
Correct. Like you said, they put Kyle Walker in there, and I thought it was a surprise because I mean not a surprise considering Vinicius is playing there, but that Akanji used to always play there, and Ake used to be where Akanji is playing today. So it's interesting how he's put Kyle Walker. He's trusted Kyle Walker with that job. That says something about Kyle Walker as well as Pep, and it's gonna be an interesting battle between the two. Between the two of them, Vinicius and
Yeah,
Walker.
absolutely. I mean, we also have, I think, if you look at the bench, you don't, I mean, I think Nathan Ake, he isn't there in the team, is it today? I think he's not in the team
I
sheet today, is he?
am not sure.
As I'm looking at the bench as well, he's not definitely not playing today. That's for sure. Ruben Diaz has taken that spot at in the middle. Again, a very odd choice you would say because Ruben Diaz is again someone who's done well on the winger side of things as well. But I think for me, what it looks like
Okay.
at this point in time is they're
Nathan Ake is
using
injured,
Jones.
guys.
Ark is injured. Yeah, I just.
Arc is injured. That makes sense. Yeah,
So he got
because
injured
it
in the
just
Bayern
seems
Munich
like
second leg, and
John
he's not yet
Stones.
recovered.
Yeah,
Oh.
so it just seems like John Stones and Nathan Ake. So when there was a run that was made by Vinicius Junior a couple of minutes back, it just seemed like John Stones and Kyle Walker, they are the ones who are going to try and restrict Vinicius Junior down the wing. And Ruben Diaz has been given the responsibility to ensure that none of the crosses, if it gets past John Stones and Kyle Walker, reaches Karim Benzema's head or foot
Yeah.
for that matter. That's how it looks like they're settled. Even though I'll come to you. How do you look at this team that is set up by Real Madrid? Seems like a pretty a team which you would normally see. They are playing Rodrigo, the man who dismantled Man's defense last time around. What do
Yeah,
you reckon about that? This team now, how it's set up, and where do you think are the places that Man City should be worried about?
but that was a good shot. That was a very good shot, which came in from
Yeah.
Yeah,
out. I mean, that could have gone
what
anywhere. But
was
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, to be very fair, I think what Cruz is doing is a very good job as well. He's trying to attract a lot of pressure and he's trying to open up the space in between. But yeah, I think on the half space, I think Stones is going to cover Vinicius Junior as well because you need a man on the half spaces there. So I think that's where I personally think John Stones is going to play a vital role there. But other than that, I personally think for Kyle Walker as well, you need someone with that kind of pace to really cover. Vinicius Junior on the right hand side. So if you can have someone like a John Stones who is a ball carrier that's at the same time can go in the half space on the right hand side for City, and at the same time if you have Kyle Walker also to give that width at times because we have seen that with Ake and Akanji as well. They kind of give you that extra bit of width, at times, especially in terms of progression. And now they're tuck in, right? When especially when you have John Stones tuck in, that also helps in someone like a Rodrigo to move up the field slightly more, and that is where City will be looking to operate today. Now, so far, what I'm seeing is very similar. Rodrigo is looking to be slightly more advanced as well. John Stones will be sitting a little bit deeper because he might tuck into that defensive shape because you need someone like a John Stones to be covering Vinicius Junior, because Vinicius Junior is the primary threat. At the moment you neutralize Vinicius Junior, what happens is you tend to get slightly more. Madrid tends to get a little more worried. But talking about Rodrigo as well, I think you've seen that throughout the season that has made them attackingly more potent, because Rodrigo is, you've seen he can play through the middle. He comes on the right hand side, gives you that extra bit of pace on the right hand side on the wing as well, and that makes him more attackingly more fluid. Also, what I believe, because Valverde has been dropping in the middle of the park recent past, and that's been their biggest strength so far.
Absolutely. I mean, it does seem like Man City are having the upper hand at this point in time. They've had more possession as much. I mean, and they've had more possession so far, 66% of it, and they are making more passes as well at this point in time. So, I mean, that's also how Real Madrid play, don't they? I mean, they don't really
What's
keep the
happening
ball.
is they're letting Manchester City be very comfortable on the midfield, and which I did
Yeah,
not expect Real Madrid to do. I think that's something which Real Madrid always does as well. They capitalize on these moments, and they are not the most positionally based team. They wait for these moments
exactly.
where they
Precisely,
find an
yes.
opportunity, attack you on that. So I don't think we should be surprised by it. But Manchester City also will be aware that you should not give them a sniff, because you slightly,
Hmm.
lower your tempo or lower the baton a little bit, they will hit you on the break, and that's where Real Madrid has been so successful.
But I mean, as someone who does follow Man City, Austin, I mean, would you reckon now? I mean, as you've seen in the Premier League as well, there's one thing that we've seen with Man City is they are a team that likes to suffocate their opponents as much as they can. But this time around, they've not been that clinical, you would say. But now, towards the end of the season, now is when they've really stepped up. They've started to win more games. They're leading the Premier League as well. Almost seems like Arsenal don't have it. I think we've lost Austin. But yeah, I mean, Abel asked the same question. Man City's had issues with letting teams get away with these moments, right? Precisely the moments that you speak. Real Madrid tries to manufacture. But now you're seeing it. Now the past few weeks, at least, past few match days, you've seen Man City transform themselves into that beast again that they were last season. Now, you reckon they're going to be able to bring that into this into the Champions League as well? I mean, we saw what they did to Bayern Munich at their home ground. Now, that's something they need to do here at Santiago Bernabeu as well.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely slow, because that's something which you need to have, because you're the team in form. You're the best team right now on paper as well. So there's nothing much which you should be doing other than what you've been doing. And you know that Madrid also not haven't been coming into this game in a lot of form. I know they won a cup recently, that really adds a lot of value to it. But the fact of the matter is, you are the team who's been on consistent winning run. You have really dominated almost every team whoever have come up against you. You're top of the league. You're in the FA Cup final. You have a treble to win as well. I think for Manchester City, what they should be doing is not to do anything extravagant. Just take it, capitalize on moments. It's so important to capitalize on moments, because you saw that in the semi-final as well. If you get a penalty against Real Madrid, you convert it. You don't mess it up. So because if you give more chances Real Madrid to even sniff, they start believing, and that's something that's the most dangerous thing in football right now, to make Madrid believe that they can be in a game at any stage. And so far, what I see is Rodrigo. I mean, what Madrid has tried to maintain a very compact structure so far, especially with four midfielders of Rodrigo also moving up in the midfield of the ball structure. So that's very interesting. I mean, the structure seems very solid at this point, where they're not letting City to just get any in behind runs as well, because you don't want City's players to be making those in behind runs, especially Haaland right there in the middle. So they've tried to make sure. Oh my God, that was close. Okay, so
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, so what City are going to do is also this, right? They're going to take these long shots. They're going to make sure they test Courtois a lot more, because at this point they're trying to sit back a lot, so they're not giving City any space to penetrate through the man in the middle. So what City will try to do is to take these long shots, get a chance in middle. Maybe it could be a rebound where Haaland will be right there. Yeah, so this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, as we speak, Kevin De Bruyne is about to take a corner, and it just seemed like, I mean, Madrid have been very compact, haven't they? Able, I mean, no, every time a player is on the ball, just as we saw Jack Grealish take up the ball, right away two players were on him, and then when the ball was passed through Rodrigo in the middle, it again seemed like they're ensuring that there's not space available. Again, almost a dink in trying to get Haaland there, but I think it's been given a goal kick as well. So it just seems like Madrid have decided to ensure that they, tire things out, or make Man City work for it while they wait on the counter. That's what we've seen so far, and I think Pep will not have any. Pep won't mind it as much because Man City have got some of the fastest defenders as well when it comes to it. So they won't be that worried about counter. Although you would have to say that after some time, when the frustration starts to build, when chance after chance gets going, as we
So
almost have a chance here, that is a bit of a letdown, you would say. I think Haaland should have done a slightly better job, but then the angle was tight. But yeah, I think that is one duo though. Austin, you would say that the back four of Real Madrid will be worried about. It's Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland. They've just been phenomenal. What do you reckon
Yeah.
now that so far what we're seeing is the idea is to make sure that De Bruyne doesn't get the space to pass. But then Kevin De Bruyne is a player, and the reason, he's a player that's got such a reputation because that's not an easy thing to do, isn't it? Against someone like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're seeing that time and again. The Haaland's getting real good chances, I'd say.
Yeah.
And, oh man, that was close.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's already two shots on target for him, and he's been
Yeah.
absolutely in the game. I think it's. I mean, you're seeing the signs
And
already. How Grealish has
yeah.
come into the game so effectively and is attacking chances as well. Madrid slightly looks on the back foot now. They're taken aback by that extra bit of
I mean,
pressure by City.
I think at this point in time, they're not able to really control Grealish on the other end. They're probably expecting the likes of, for the likes of Kevin De Bruyne to be that the issue for them early on. But what's at this point, what is happening is Jack Grealish is running behind the likes of Carvajal and Rudiger, who are trying to, especially because it seems like Rudiger is trying to stay in the middle of Grealish and Kevin De Bruyne, and that's why he's not able to really, uh, you know, look after the two of them. And at this point in time, it looks like Grealish is really able to get a lot of crosses in. So that's one issue I think that Madrid should look at and try and make sure that Grealish doesn't get the ball as much as he is at this point in time, or at least it doesn't get far into their box as much as he is.
Yeah, I agree with you. But for me, I personally feel in this, Gundogan is going to be a massive factor because how Gundogan plays is uh, is how the game is going to be decided as well. And that's why I personally think this is going to be so important in terms of how Gundogan's involvement. I think Austin also will agree with me. Gundogan has been the go-to man in the recent past.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see the other side now act up, it's Bernardo Silva, another player. I think Bernardo Silva has been a target as well for Real Madrid. It has also, there have been rumors, not in this transfer window as much as there were in the previous one, that Bernardo Silva is looking to leave. Barcelona seemed interested. They couldn't come up with the money from what we've heard. Real Madrid too were interested in him from what we've heard, and could be some of one of the backup options probably, or could be a player who comes in important moments as I think another attack just there broken down. But
Yeah,
Abel,
yeah.
what do you reckon about Bernardo Silva and his impact? Because he's a player who is someone who goes under the radar most often than not. But whenever he surfaces, he comes up with these magic moments.
I mean, at
This
this
could be a
point, at least
chance right
Bernardo
here.
Silva has been such an important player, right? I mean, you have to talk about the way in which he's dealt in the right wing back position as well. He's been so versatile, especially in cutting inside, giving that width, overloading the right hand side at times, helping someone like De Bruyne to release. And at times you've seen Haaland drop deep and also overload on right hand side, especially with Bernardo Silva trying to hold the ball up a little bit, helping Haaland to stay a little bit more away. That which creates overload means they attract a lot more pressure on the right hand side, and that's where Bernardo has been so useful. You've seen the game against Bayern Munich, how awesome he was, especially in terms of cutting inside and creating those chances. And at the same time, just coming in, using the defensive acumen as well, very well in the recent past. And that's why I think he's been extremely versatile in the recent past. Bernardo Silva, the player, and for I don't think it can be measured. His impact in terms of the way in which he has really made impact for this team has been immeasurable at this point. And that's where I personally think Bernardo Silva is a massive, massive player for Manchester City. And even in this game, if you look personally, I think how Bernardo Silva is, if you let Bernardo to really have a free game, I personally think that to an extent is going to really be detrimental for Real Madrid because he's so important in terms of Manchester City's fluidity. Especially when it comes to him switching plays, him trying to get inside, taking on the right backs or defenders, and that is where he's going to be so crucial once again. Alongside him is Gundogan as well. When these two players are going to be crucial, we talk about De Bruyne, we talk about Haaland. I think De Bruyne, I think Gundogan and Bernardo Silva are these two players who have been so pivotal for City in the recent past, especially in terms of them holding the ball up, them making those turns, and them creating the lot of plays. That they both really decide what happens for City.
Absolutely. I mean, almost a chance they're good, but it does seem like slightly, I mean, Madrid strict. I mean, attempts are working. They are now. It just seems like Man City are being forced to take long shots, something that doesn't seem to be. I mean, no one is. Everyone wants to get as close to goal as possible, and that's why you would say that Madrid has been very tight so far. Even though the possession has been with Man City, you wouldn't say that Carlo Ancelotti is very upset with his players at this point in time. It looks very subtle. I
Yeah, I
mean,
agree with
very
you.
much.
I agree with you.
Yeah. It just seems like it's very much in the balance, isn't it? Some chances have come their way, but it's not been the kind of chance that Man City would think has been equivalent to a goal because it's even if
Hmm.
whatever shots they've taken, it's either been a restricted angle or it's been too far up the pitch to really expect anything.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that, primarily because, for Manchester City as well, they've not been clear cut chances in 20 minutes. What I'm seeing is, uh, I personally think Manchester City will be slightly more on the happier side at this point because they
Yeah,
believe the midfield is not really raffled up by. They believe they have more dominance in this game in terms of controlling the midfield, and that's where Manchester City is at its absolute powers. Because if you're going to let City run the play, you know that they won't be raffled up at all. The moment what will really shake City is when the opposition midfield tries to shake up with Manchester City's midfield, or they start getting opened up on the counter attacks. I've not seen a counter attack yet. You saw Vinny getting the opportunity a couple of times. If on counter attacks they start to get opened up a lot more, that's what's going to really trouble Manchester City, is what I feel, and it's going to happen. I mean, you might see Vinny just making those runs, and so far what City have done is that three defenders in the back, especially with John Stones as well tucking in, especially in
Mhm.
terms of whenever City has made those attacking transitions. What John Stones is giving is an extra bit of defensive support in the back. By chance they
Yeah.
lose the ball in the defensive transition, you have an extra man there.
Absolutely. I mean, it also does look like that, John Stones and Rodri on the other end, both of them have been given the responsibility to be those extra defenders, especially John Stones. We've seen that happen. And you can say that that's where I like the system from Pep a lot. It's a genius system, right? Where you've got five defenders, but then
Yeah.
you've also got, you would have to say, you've also got eight ball playing players on the field because then, not eight rather than you would say nine at least because Ruben Diaz has stayed back a little bit, but you're seeing John Stones and Rodri get involved with the attack as well. We just almost saw John Stones come in, but he was tackled away by Kamavinga. So that is where the system is such a genius one from Pep. He's still got five at the back when he needs them, but then he's got around nine players carrying the ball for him. Only thing that can go wrong for them is when that happens, a lot of your players are spent a lot more. The energy is spent a lot more because they're running to and fro. That could be
Especially
something
your
that Real Madrid
midfielders.
try and focus on. What do you reckon, Austin?
Yeah, talking about the WM formation, uh,
Yeah,
which is being up popular now. Liverpool have adopted it. Of course, Man City have. Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on your midfielders. They get exhausted a lot. Not pressure exactly though, but yeah, we'll see. But Rodri has proven to be quite efficient, I'd say. So has
yeah.
John Stones in the previous matches we've seen. So maybe it will be a struggle. Maybe they will struggle in front of a midfield like that of Real Madrid. Maybe they won't. So we can only wait and see.
Absolutely. I mean, Ibil, what do you reckon about this now? You reckon now that being a factor, the fact that the players of Man City are going to be making more runs than the likes of, Real Madrid. This strategy from Ancelotti to, wait and allow Man City to give them the ball and then go on a counter, is that going to be even more effective?
I mean, yes, to an extent, because I told you,
Yeah,
right? Manchester City might just open up on the defensive transitions, and that's going to be very interesting because we've seen Real Madrid's strength has also been that because they attack on you, attack on the counters, then attack very proficiently as well. Because of the pace on the either side of the wing and with Benzema in the middle of the park, they can do that more often than not. But what's going to be interesting is how City maintains that shape, because you have Akanji there and you have Kyle Walker there. So they both have got enough pace, especially in terms of covering it up. But can they get extra bit up? Can they do the defensive support really well? Now that's about it. Ruben Diaz's experience, and John Stones is also there. So see, you can't afford to lose the ball at this kind of stage, because there's this chance which just came right now. You cannot afford to lose this. You can't do this. And
Yeah.
that is why Madrid is going to be very interesting, because they expect Manchester to lose the ball in these kind of positions and attack.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw one of the
Talking about
examples right there. Out of nowhere, you saw a mistake there. I think it was by was it Kyle Walker, or John Stones, almost crossed along the path of Vinicius Junior. There was John Stones who made that error, and if not for Ruben Diaz, it would have been goal number one for Karim Benzema and Real Madrid. This is what Real Madrid can do, isn't it, Austin? Out of nowhere,
correct.
they create these moments. It's
Exactly,
based on
exactly,
bigger moments. It's based on the fact that they can lull you into this false sense of security, and then they can hit you when you
exactly.
don't expect it. Another chance right there, but ball a little too far for
Very
Vinicius
well
Junior
said.
to score.
Yeah, they we all know how Real Madrid plays on moments, and like you can have the ball, I can have the goals. Mourinho famously said that's
Yeah.
what they do. That they just like to sit back. They just play on moments. They just find a counter, a very good counter actually, and they have the players, they have the abilities at their disposal to make it happen. So yeah, the false sense of security, Manchester City knows all too well about that. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it also seems even at this point in time that Real Madrid has suddenly gotten a lot more energetic. Like it's almost as if they've realized 25 minutes is long enough that Man City's had the possession. Now it's our turn to rake up some magic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So this is what I'm talking about, pressing and triggers, and they will try to maintain that mid block and at the same time pressure. And this is where Manchester City also can be extremely deadly. If at this point of stage Madrid kind of loses it and City gets in behind. This is where City also will sense there's an opportunity for them. But at the same time, Madrid will know they have to capitalize on these small moments. There's a moments which I'm talking about. Madrid will know, capitalize on these moments when slightly the momentum is shifting on their favor, make the most out of it. Because momentum in these kind of games are so important in these phases of play. The 5 minutes, the 10 minutes, who capitalizes? Because Madrid came very close to capitalizing it. This could have been 1-0
Yeah.
Madrid at this point of stage. So these are the moments I'm talking about precisely.
I
I think
mean,
it's going to be
what do you reckon
interesting
about
because
the?
of the weight factor as well.
Yeah.
Because you never know with Madrid as to how they are going to attack, because they kind of at this point what I'm also thinking, Modric will be getting involved in the game a lot more. Modric will be looking to play the game a lot more, especially trying to come up the field, and that is where things are going to be interesting. Modric comes up the field, the Madrid are really desperate in terms of making a breakthrough, and so far in the game, what I see that as well happening.
Yeah, I mean, what do you reckon about that foul, Austin, that Carvajal just committed on Grealish? It almost see like
that
Man
was
City were through
brutal.
on goal, they were through on counter attack, and Carvajal tried to restrict that. I mean, the referee
Yeah,
didn't allow it to get by, but you reckon that was a lot more serious than what referee saw?
it was. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was a yellow.
Yeah, because it just seemed like, at that point in time, if not for the foul, Man
Yeah,
City had almost going to create a clear chance. Haaland was up ahead. I think it was also De Bruyne. De Bruyne who was up ahead. Could have been a goal. Yeah, I mean, I think there's another foul. It's Grealish again, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
it's
It just
Gundogan.
seems like Carvajal is deciding. No, it's not Grealish. It's not
it's
Grealish for
Gundogan is
sure.
down.
It's Gundogan against
It's
Rudiger.
Gundogan who's down, and I Man City players are not at all happy at this point in time.
Yeah,
Seems he's holding
I
his
think
neck
Rudiger
as
and Carvajal are walking on thin ice at this point. They will be
yes.
carded very soon because they are really going on physicality at this point and trying to stop Gundogan. Because if you let any liberal, if you're going to let Gundogan to be any bit of free, he can make an instant impact on the game, because that's the kind of character that's a form he's been carrying so far. And you want to stop the creative ability of Gundogan right now. That is where it's going to be very important for for Real Madrid as well, to make sure they commit as many fouls as possible, because Gundogan has his moments of magic where he can turn. You can create this moment where you can turn absolutely, or and just put a ball in and link up play with De Bruyne as well. So you have to restrict Gundogan's movements as much as possible and restrict his time on the ball.
I mean, again, this challenge as well from Rudiger. It just seems like, I mean, it's not as serious, I would say, as it was of Carvajal, not as deliberate, but it just seems like
Yeah.
Rudiger's, I think, elbowed into the head of Gundogan, and that's the reason why he's lying there. Physicians, I mean, the Man City physicians are out there. That could be a very serious one as well because it did seem from the replays that the elbow of Rudiger did, collide with the head, the side of the head of Gundogan. Austin, this point in the game is stopped, but does it look like, not just as Abel mentioned, Carvajal and Rudiger are on thin ice? It does look like at this point in time, with the two attacks, Man City are slightly on top, or you can that's just how Real Madrid play, and
They
it's
are
nothing that
dominating a
they
little.
don't do worry
Yeah,
about.
I think. Yeah, they are playing a better game. They're passing better. They're making the right moves. I think, and I think that's what they were instructed the Real Madrid players to stop the play, to put a hold on their flow of the game. They were doing it all too well, and it has worked out, I'd say.
Yeah, I think.
I also think this stoppage is not so good for Madrid because this was a phase which Madrid was trying to dominate, and if you're going to let that happen, the momentum again goes off from you. So I don't think this is not ideally beneficial um, for Real Madrid for the matter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. It just seems though. I think Gundogan is back on his feet, but
Yeah,
he seems to be going outside the sideline to get a treatment done. Seems like it at this point in time. So Man City are going to be playing
we'll
with 10
continue with
men for the
10
while.
men.
Yeah, I think they still worried about, I think, concussion as well as his cheekbones. So that's two things
Oh,
that they're looking at because it could be a huge blow. I mean, elbow to your cheeks. But Man City so far are playing with 10 men, so could be a chance at
yeah.
this point in time for Real Madrid to make some damage. As Abel said, the momentum slightly seems to have shifted on to Madrid's end. But then just before that foul, it did seem like Man City did get their momentum back. However, attack at this point in time is Real Madrid's.
Yeah, I agree with you because, especially with Madrid, I told you right. I mean, they will capitalize on these small moments, and for City as well. At this point, what it's about how they maintain it. They maintain that composure. You know you will get chances. You will have to go out there, make sure. Madrid also do not get a lot of balls and maintain a structure at the same because you ultimately know this game is away from you. You don't want to concede as well. At the same time, try to take something out of this game. You don't want to be completely going away out of this game by
Oh,
not getting anything out of it, but at least something out of this game.
well done there by Rodri. Almost a very good run from Luka Modric, but he had to stifle it with that tackle, and it was a very clean one as well. And now Haaland getting the
Yeah,
ball on Grealish. This could be another opportunity for Man City, but yeah, just as I was saying it, Real Madrid have got in their positions. But now, Austin, from here, what do you reckon? I mean, the game does seem to have slightly settled down. Chances aren't coming as much, so who do you reckon is going to break the deadlock? It's a tough one to call at this point in time, but do you reckon a
it's
first goal is going to come in this
very
half at
tough.
all?
I don't think the first goal is coming in this half. And if it is, I think it'll come from Madrid. I believe
That's
that. Yeah. I mean, as much as I don't want it to.
Absolutely. It just seems like Madrid have gotten a momentum there. I think Scamavinga on the ball, but I mean, so far Man City are doing a good job. But even I think you're already getting the sense of dread. This is how Madrid play, aren't they? It's now they're trying to turn it on. They are entering the box of Man City. They're putting pressure on the players, even when they are, when it doesn't seem like the pressure is going to come on to you. How do you reckon now this phase is going to go? And this could be a chance, right? Oh, I think
I agree with you
couldn't get the
because
right
number
ball, and
one,
yeah,
these are small phases of the game which you have to really control. But before the halftime, it slightly looks like KG affair so far. Madrid have taken a back foot. I know they've gone into the box, but nothing so threatening so far, except for Manchester giving away the ball at that 1 point stage. I'm not just talking expected goals as well. Just looking at what could be expected goals on Madrid at this point of stage, it is slightly on the lower side, especially inside the box. So this is where I think Manchester City will be slightly more comfortable in terms of in terms of letting Madrid, even if they get in the box, make sure they go wide, they drift wide. They don't let Benzema also to be in position there. They've done that so far so well. But for Manchester City, it's going to be about get get De Bruyne into the game a lot more and make sure that he goes upfield and and at the same time, not let these crosses happen because what Madrid is are
Yeah.
very good at is letting the crosses happen. Very good. They're very good. I think there's a handball. It's a penalty. No, it's
No, no,
a
no, handball by Benzema.
handball by Madrid. Yeah, correct.
Benzema is the one. Yeah.
Benzema, correct, correct, correct. I'm not on commentary, so I can't really see it. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to say. They will look to now try to cross the ball a lot more, primarily because they'll understand that that's one way to hit City. Play the long balls in, maybe create a chance out of nowhere. That is why Madrid are so good at it. Create a chance out of nowhere which you don't expect, and that is something which City should be anticipating because Madrid will be getting frustrated now at some point because they know this game is at home. They'll have to make the most out of it because you don't. I know Madrid are good, as I mentioned. Madrid are good away as well, but the fact of the matter is, at Bernabeu, you don't want to waste a chance like that.
Correct.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, you know that the game at Man City's home will be a harder game nonetheless. They
Precisely. I
are a
think
world class team, but away games are always harder, I think. So he's correct. What? He's correct in saying he's correct about the first. Oh my god.
it just
Yeah,
seems a very good run at this point in time from
Yeah.
that's
Kamavinga.
a
I think.
goal. That's a beautiful goal.
Oh, it's a goal already. I think it was a bit behind from Austin. No wonder why he
That's one
set
of
the
the best
wall.
best goals, man. What a crazy goal that
And there
was.
we go. It's
What a
Vinny
goal.
Jr. It's Vinny Jr. who's done it. And as Abel was saying, it's Santiago Bernabeu. There had to be a goal, and it had to be Vinny Jr. A bit upset though that there's no dance coming from Vinny Jr. I think he only does it when the other Madrid comes to visit them, the Atletico Madrid guys. But man, oh man, this guy can produce moments of magic like this. It was Kamavinga who went on that run, and what a run that was! He ran from
Yeah.
one half to the other half, and before you know, the ball was at Vinny Junior's feet and top drawer, literally and
That was
figuratively dropped
one
ball
hell
from
of a
him.
goal, and that's something which I was just telling to you. These are the
Yeah.
moments which you should be very worried about because they can create
Yeah.
it, especially with Vinicius Junior's class, and they will be looking to hit City on the long balls and especially trying to get in these positions where they find a little bit of space, take a shot, and they're pretty good at it. Especially Benzema, especially Vinny. I think Kamavinga was very good there, especially in progressing the ball, carrying the ball there. I mean, he really opened up Manchester. They did not expect, especially in the transition. I told you, right? That transition is what City should be careful about. Not let spaces for Vinicius Junior to operate there.
Yeah, but I think to Man City's defense, you can't really blame the defense as well. I mean, they would have thought they had it covered. They would have thought another two, at least when he would take two more touches before he goes for goal. That was just world class, and you can't stop players like these because that's the reason why we call them extraordinary. Another player, a lesser player, would have waited two to three touches more, get closer to the goal, but not Vinny Junior. Now, what is the response from Man City is what we're going to be looking at. This is I mean, they were on top, but that's how Real Madrid operate. You're never really on top when you're playing against Madrid and Santiago Bernabeu. And as you can see, they've completely assumed control of the game. Now it just seems like everything is reversed. Has
Yeah.
Gundogan come back to the pitch yet, or is he
Yeah,
still
there's
Oh
off?
yeah, he
he came
came
back
back
right there.
right then. Yeah.
That's good news then there because I mean that can be a difficult injury to have for a sportsman, right to your head as well. But this point in time, it does look like Man City are a little rattled, and I think that can happen as well. The idea is at this point in time is not force things because you've got a long time to go. Remember, this is not a 90-minute game; it's a 180-minute game with one half being played here in Santiago Bernabeu. So you have to look at the long side of things and not really give another goal away. I think especially because Real Madrid seem to be a lot more on top at this point in
Yeah.
time, isn't it?
The key is, I think, not to get frustrated right now,
Yeah,
and to keep your cool, not to, make mistakes.
absolutely. It just seems like also Real Madrid now. I mean, Man City still have the ball. I think it's Courtois with the ball now, but it's still not impossible. Man City have proven that they can do it. They have come. I mean, I wouldn't say they've come close, but they have hit the target, but it's all about creating a chance, and you never know at this point in time because that's how football is. Can be very funny how
I
when
mean,
you look when everything looks
yeah.
down and out, you can just produce a magic moment like what Vinny did. So I mean, I still think man there
When
will
you
be a goal
have
for Man City. And
when you have Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland on your team, they're
yeah,
special players. They can do they can create magic when they want. So you never know.
absolutely. Abel, what do you reckon now is going to be the response from Man City? Where do you think that response really has to come from? Which player do you think is going to step up at this time and has to step up?
I mean, it's not about one player at this point. It's about
Of
how you
course.
maintain composure as well, especially because you don't want to lose your momentum. You don't want to really look flustered, and especially in terms of losing shape as well. What happens when you're maintaining a structure, when you have a goal like this, you tend to try things out of the box, which is so unnecessary.
Hmm.
You have to keep doing what you're doing because chances will come your way. Because chances did come your way in the first half as well. Now just stay patient because if you're going to let this is where a lot of teams against Madrid have failed because they tend to lose their shape all of a sudden. They tend to try to do some things out of the box. But against Madrid, we've seen teams, whoever has added success against Madrid have always maintained it. Even though Madrid score, it's about how you come back into it. They try to
Yeah,
frustrate Madrid as well by keeping the ball, creating those, penetrating those lines, and it's so important to get in behind the line at this point. And I think De Bruyne and Haaland is going to hold the key alongside Grealish as well.
absolutely. What about you, Austin? I mean, where do you think see things going from? I think Man City are trying to keep the ball and calm themselves down a bit, which is a very good thing because most often than not, you see teams trying hard and trying to find a response as quick as possible, which is what you need as well. You
Yeah,
need a quick goal, but at the same time, what could go more wrong is if you tried a lot and then you end up conceding.
yeah,
So you
correct.
reckon this is a good sign from Man City that they aren't really losing their shape, as Abel mentioned, other teams have in the past?
I think it's a very close call in terms of these two teams. Oh, that was a really good chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a slight few seconds behind you, but I can see what
I
you're
think
talking
you
about.
are. Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
there we
yeah.
go. I've just reached that point in time. Haaland almost got there.
Yeah.
I think Austin at this point in time has become a
Yeah.
prophet
What
of
were we
sorts.
talking
You already
about?
know what's happening. I should just let.
Yeah, I was trying. I'm trying not to
Oh, that was a
react, but
very
it's
close
hard.
chance. I think
Yeah.
again, so it just seems like that last bit is what Man City are looking for. They've
I
had
yeah.
balls go across the face of goal, but no one really to get that important touch. Once again, I think it was Grealish who couldn't get there in time. But a corner again. I think they've had a lot of corners for Man City. I just have to go over it. Yeah, I think so. We've had four corners that Man City has gotten,
Yeah.
still not able to really convert. Yeah, four against one that Real Madrid got. But and possession wise, still you would say the Real Madrid have struggled. I mean, 30 percentage compared to Man City 70. But we've already established that's how Real Madrid play. They don't need the ball; they need the goals, as Austin already mentioned. Now Mourinho had
But what I
spoken
think
about
is,
it.
Kamavinga has had a very good game so far, and that's
Yes,
one thing why
absolutely.
Madrid have been able to do well, especially in terms of especially in terms of not letting City to be free. Kamavinga defensively has been so good today.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's kept
I
Rodri
think
silent. He's kept De Bruyne also silent to an extent.
yeah. I think Deschamps was onto something when he said he will only play Kamavinga on the full backs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, Kamavinga's run today as well. He's done a great job. He defended. He got the ball away from the likes of I mean, Bernardo Silva, John Stones, where he had entered the box, and then of course that run that led to the goal. So interestingly
Yeah.
enough, with just few minutes to go for the half to end, I mean, gentlemen, you reckon now Man City will be just hoping to get through unscathed and try in the second half. Pep, for we all know, is going to come up with something. And one player that I'm really interested in, Abel, is Phil Foden. He could be a player who could come in and inject some energy into this team, isn't it? Not to say that it's not that they have lack of energy also, but he is one player who could do that. I mean, just look at this season so far in the Premier League. He's got the second highest goals for you. 10 goals in the Premier League. So he's someone who can score as well. You reckon
Second half.
he might come on in the second half and have a role to play?
He might, but I don't know how much of a big impact he's going to make into this game, especially now. But I can assure you one thing, that he will be a little bit more dynamic in terms of cutting into spaces, taking on one-on-ones, and that's something which he does brilliantly. But I don't know what stage will he be coming in. It depends. If this is going to remain like this for next till the 65th minute, then Pep might try to bring in Julian Alvarez and Phil
But
Foden
there's
just to
been
add
a
a little bit more uh, dynamic style into the play.
Yeah, that's a very interesting call there, Abel, because Pep Guardiola has tried a
it's been
formation before where you've had two of them play together, Phil and Haaland is, I mean, not Phil, rather, you've had Julian and Erling play together. It just seems like there's a foul that's been committed on Valverde and he seems to be down. I think he's
Yeah.
holding his groin as well, so it could be a serious, serious foul.
oh my
It seemed like the foul has also been committed on Grealish by Carvajal.
yeah, that was the original uh,
How
push.
is Carvajal? Oh my god, that is the best. He deserves an Oscar for that. He deserves an absolute
Yeah.
Oscar for that. I mean, come on, Carvajal, come on. That's Neymar school of acting right there. I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
he keeps
that's
doing
just.
this all the time. It's not the first time he's done this.
So you're saying he's one of the star pupils from Neymar school of acting.
I mean, yeah, I mean, these
Oh,
things
it's
will keep happening
typical.
because we are
I
nearing close
okay,
to the half
that has
time.
to be a card. That has to be an absolute card. He is just bullying. I mean, Grealish at this point in time outside the laws of the game. I don't know. I think it's time to call the ref blind. It just doesn't seem like he's done this again and again. I think he deserved the card for that foul he had committed way early in the game. And if not, then at least the one he committed at the sidelines because that could have been a cross that came in and got in the goal. But the ref
Yeah, I
seems to be
agree.
upset with both of them.
This is really fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real battle going out there between the
Yeah,
players right now more than the
Yeah.
officials of Manchester City. I think it's Grealish versus Carvajal, which is happening, and all the eyes are on them
Yeah.
right now.
yeah, absolutely. I think because it's also because Grealish has been such a threat down that wing, isn't it, Austin? Because he's doing the job of making their lives difficult, both Carvajal and Rudiger.
Yeah.
And
He's
I can
doing what he
understand
does.
why
Yeah.
fouls are coming in, but I just feel the ref is being a little too
It's
easy going.
first yellow.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait
a
for
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
chance
that's a bad foul.
again.
That's
I
a
think this
bad.
one has to be a card. I think he's out. He's out with his card. Oh, that he just came flying in, did Cruz and take what it looks like De Bruyne down.
Oh, that's a very
Gundogan down.
bad time. Oh no, no.
I
Oh,
think
that's
he's
very
calling for a card.
unnecessary.
There was no need for that. I
Yeah,
agree. I absolutely agree. There's
that could
no
have
need
gone
for that.
anywhere. If his leg was slightly more higher, that could have also been a red.
Mhm.
Oh, I think Cruz did go and hit his head as well on the momentum downward. So maybe karma did play something there. Yeah, there's a red. There is a yellow card. We've got a confirmation for a yellow card. It's Johnny Cruz who's on a yellow
Gundogan
now.
has a bruise from that challenge by Rudiger earlier in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
he
does.
does.
He does.
He does. He
Yeah,
does.
I don't know what Koto was doing there.
Oh, that could have been a risky
That's
move
the
from
half
Courtois
time.
coming up that far ahead. But yeah, as Abel is called it, it's half time and
Yeah,
1
Pep is
nil
certainly not
for
happy with the referee, and rightly so, because
absolutely.
what has happened has been slightly weird, especially in terms of some of the decision making can be questioned, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It just seems like the ref has been blind to a lot of fouls that has been done by not Man City, but rather by Real Madrid. I think Carvajal does deserve to be on the book as well. But end of
Oh,
half time, it's one for Real Madrid and nil for Man City. As you guys can see down there on the screen, Vinicius Junior in the 36th minute combined with Eduardo Camavinga scored that first goal. and ensure that they go up ahead. But it's been a tight game. It's been a cagey game, and anything can change in the second half. Pep Guardiola, you never know with him. He can really make a comeback. Can Man City, and Champions League, the drama never ceases to stop. I mean, exists. I mean, never ceases to stop because anything can happen. It's that high stakes a football match. This.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have to be very honest. This first half looks like man what Real Madrid usually does. Tries to go out there, get that goal out of nowhere, and tries to really kill a game out, which they're so good at doing. And they've done that so far, and that's where I personally think they'll be the happier of the two teams. But you never know.
Certainly.
Anything can possibly happen.
I mean, look at Grealish, and Carvajal has him where he wants, right? He hasn't frustrated. He's gotten on his nerves. So, I don't know. It will highly affect his game now. What about
Hmm.
the other match?
All right, I think that's pretty much our first half covered. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We'll be back soon, though. I think one half is pretty much covered. Things can happen in the second half, but we'll be back soon. So thank you guys for joining us, and make sure you guys don't forget to download and play on Boom 11. This contest is gone, but there is the one that is coming next, which is going to be such a high stakes one because it's going to be Milan versus Milan, one stadium, two teams, whether it be home and away. And if you guys know
Milan is
what
gonna
happened
win.
last
I'm gonna
time,
predict that Milan is gonna win it.
yeah, I think for me too, Milan's going to win, but which shade of Milan
But we
is
know
the
which
question.
Milan, right? Only one team is known by the name Milan, so it's AC Milan. I'm backing them.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you're
the
saying
originals.
international is going to win?
International.
International.
Well, it's going to be interesting how that goes. But that's it for us from today. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll be back soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.